Hi, everybody. I'm going to talk to you today about an article by Graeme in The Atlantic called What ISIS Really Wants. It's about what the Islamic State is all about, who they are, where they came from. It's very in depth. It's over 10,000 words long. I just read it the other day, and I got to say, it's one of the best pieces I have read on the Islamic State, maybe ever. And I highly recommend it. If you really are serious about getting an in-depth knowledge of what's going on in Iraq and Syria right now as it relates to the Islamic State, definitely read that whole thing. I agree with basically everything he says in there, with one very small, notable point. Um, Wood calls for kind of a military response along the lines of what we're doing, kind of a slow bleeding of the Islamic State. He calls it the best of many bad options. I agree that our options are really all bad, but I don't believe that's the best one. I believe we need to pick an all-out response. Go all the way or not at all, and that goes back to my philosophy of total war and knowing what it takes to win war and being honest with ourselves about that. But generally speaking, I definitely endorse this article. If you know anything about my philosophy of warfare, you know that education is key to us winning wars. Our politicians, our decision makers, make decisions about war to some extent, at least based off whether they think they're going to get reelected or not. So what you, the general population, knows about war affects the decisions that your politicians make. So learn about this so you have a better understanding of it, so that when you go to the polls or when you voice your opinion on these issues, your politicians, your elected leaders hear those opinions and hear about what you know and are able to make better decisions as a result. Again, um, you know, it's more than also just knowing about the Islamic State. You need to understand the history of warfare as well. We have a tendency to only look at the current conflict or the current potential conflict through the lens of what's happening now. Don't forget to look at history and look at what we've been doing in Iraq for the last 12 years and before that around the region and around the world in Korea and Vietnam. If we really want to consider going to war against the Islamic State, we need to have a serious conversation about what it will take to win, and if we're willing to go to those lengths to win or not. So if we're not, there's no limited response that would be beneficial to us to send 10,000 troops to conduct a small operation. It's not worth it. So thanks for listening. Please subscribe, favorite, check out my Facebook page and Twitter down below. And thanks for watching. Have a good one.